Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. You're still awake. Maybe you're working. Maybe you're scrolling. Maybe you're just restless. You feel a bit heavy, a bit slow, but you tell yourself, I'm fine. I can handle one night. But inside your skull, a silent disaster is unfolding. Your brain is not just tired, it is literally struggling to stay alive in its current state. Right now, as you push through the 24-hour mark, your biology is breaking. Systems are shutting down, toxins are piling up, and your reality is starting to warp. Most people think sleep deprivation is just about being sleepy. It's not. It's about a chemical and structural collapse of your consciousness. And today we're going to look at exactly what happens when the lights stay on, but nobody is home. Before we hit 24 hours, we have to understand the buildup. From the moment you woke up this morning, a chemical called adenosine has been rising in your brain. Think of adenosine as sleep pressure. The longer you are awake, the more it accumulates. By hour 16, the pressure is immense. Under normal conditions, this is when your brain signals, time to go. But you ignore it. You drink coffee. You use bright lights. You force the system to stay online. This is the moment the maintenance crew usually clocks in. But because you're still awake, the doors stay locked. The cleaning cannot begin. This is the most dangerous part of staying awake for 24 hours. Your brain has its own specialized waste clearance system. It's called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the dishwasher of your mind. While you sleep, your brain cells actually shrink in size. This creates space between the cells, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and flush out metabolic trash. The main target? Beta amyloid. This is a toxic protein associated with Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. At the 24-hour mark, because you haven't slept, this wash cycle never happened. The beta amyloid stays. The metabolic waste builds up. Your brain is now literally operating in a pool of its own chemical garbage. This is why you feel that brain fog. It isn't just a feeling, it is cellular congestion. Here is a terrifying fact backed by multiple clinical studies. After 24 hours of total sleep deprivation, your cognitive impairment is nearly identical to someone with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.10%. In many places, that is well above the legal limit for driving. Your reaction time is shot. Your judgment is compromised. But here is the catch. Unlike a person who has been drinking, you don't realize how impaired you are. You feel okay. You think you're focusing, but your neurons are firing slower. The communication between your left and right hemispheres is lagging. You are essentially navigating the world in a state of legal intoxication without having a single drop of alcohol. Around the 24-hour mark, your brain begins to lose the battle against adenosine. It realizes you aren't listening to the warning signs. So, it takes matters into its own hands. It starts performing microsleeps. These are involuntary bursts of sleep that last from 1 to 10 seconds. Your eyes might stay open. You might still be standing or sitting. But for those few seconds, your brain conks out. It stops processing sensory information. You become blind and deaf to the world for a brief moment. If you're sitting on a couch, it's harmless. If you're driving at 60 miles per hour, those 3 seconds of microsleep are enough to travel the length of a football field. Your brain isn't trying to be difficult, it's trying to survive. Why do we get so cranky when we're tired? Science has a very specific answer. Normally, your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational part of your brain, acts as a brake on your amygdala. The amygdala is the emotional center, the fight or flight hub. After 24 hours without sleep, the connection between these two areas is severed. The logical brake fails. The amygdala becomes 60% more reactive to negative stimuli. This is why a small annoyance feels like a catastrophe. This is why you might snap at a friend or burst into tears over something trivial. You haven't just lost sleep. You've lost your emotional equilibrium. You are living in a state of hyperarousal and anxiety. Let's take a second here, because if you're listening to this and realizing you haven't slept enough lately, your brain is already struggling to process this information. Hit the like button right now. It's a small way to support the science and help others understand the risks. Comment below, What is the longest you've ever gone without sleep? And how did you feel at the end? Make sure you're subscribed. We break down the hardest science into things you can actually use. Now, let's look at the memory crisis. Think of your hippocampus as the save button of your brain. It takes the information you learned today and prepares it to be stored as long-term memory. But that storage process only happens during deep sleep. Without sleep, the hippocampus becomes like a full hard drive that won't let you write new files. Studies show that after 24 hours of no sleep, the ability of the brain to learn new information drops by nearly 40%. You can read a page of a book over and over. You can listen to a lecture. But the information isn't sticking. It's bouncing off. You aren't just tired, you are temporarily incapable of learning. Around 24 hours, something strange often happens. You might suddenly feel great, full of energy, giddy, even euphoric. You think, hey, I've got my second wind. I can go for another 10 hours. Don't be fooled. This is a biological trap called the mesolimbic dopamine spike. Your brain, sensing the extreme stress of being awake, floods your system with dopamine. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. It's designed to give an exhausted primitive human the energy to find a safe place to sleep or to find food. But this dopamine spike is messy. It makes you impulsive. It makes you take unnecessary risks. You aren't better. You're just wired and tired. While the brain is the main victim, the rest of your body is screaming too. After 24 hours, your blood pressure begins to climb. Your inflammatory markers, like C-reactive protein, spike. Your immune system's natural killer cells drop by nearly 70%. One night of no sleep makes you significantly more vulnerable to viruses and infections. Your body is essentially shifting all its resources to staying awake, leaving no resources for staying healthy. At 24 hours, your senses start to betray you. Peripheral vision starts to fade. You might see shadows in the corner of your eyes. Sounds might seem muffled or strangely loud. This is because the thalamus, the brain's gatekeeper for sensory info, is starting to malfunction. It's struggling to filter what is real and what is internal noise. This is the gateway to hallucinations. If you push toward 48 or 72 hours, these shadows become full-blown visual distortions. Your brain is so desperate for the dream state that it starts forcing dreams into your waking life. Every living organism on this planet sleeps, from the tiniest fruit fly to the giant blue whale. Evolution has had millions of years to eliminate sleep if it wasn't necessary. Think about it. When you sleep, you can't eat. You can't reproduce. You can't defend yourself. Sleep is a massive evolutionary liability. And yet, it persists. Why? Because the biological price of staying awake is too high. We aren't designed to be always on. We are designed for rhythm, light and dark, action and recovery. When you stay awake for 24 hours, you aren't winning against your biology. You are violating a law that is 3 billion years old. If your brain could speak to you after 24 hours of being awake, it wouldn't ask for coffee. It wouldn't ask for an energy drink. It would beg for darkness. It would say, please, let me clear the toxins. Please, let me save your memories. Please, let me reset your emotions. Sleep isn't a luxury. It isn't for the weak. It is a non-negotiable biological requirement for being a high-functioning human being. The most productive thing you can do after a long day is nothing at all. Go to sleep. Your brain will thank you in the morning. Are you watching this late at night right now? If you are, take this as your sign. Turn off the screen, put down the phone, and give your brain the rest it deserves. Tell us in the comments, are you going to sleep now?